Welcome back to the Titanium Hanger. This is Mike, and I'm coming at you with another video. This time, I want to talk to you about Insecticon options. And you have a lot of options, actually. You have third-party Masterpiece, Fans Toys, and Bad Cube are represented here. You have the Titan Returns. Well, actually, it goes all the way back to Combiner Wars, or even pre-Combiner Wars in some cases. And I'm going to show you some of that. And then you also have G1. I mean, don't roll out G1. But let's get right into it. So the first thing I want to talk to you about is the G1 figures, and I'm going to go ahead and combine that with discussing the Legends scale Hasbro figures. And I want to point out something that really caught my eye, that Legend class figures are about the same size as the G1. And yes, I know when you go Masterpiece scale, you're going way bigger, and so we're going to have that all for comparison too. But I didn't realize that Legends has really upped the game. They're making them bigger. They're making them better. They're redoing figures that they've made, Wind Charger or something like that. They made two versions. So they made an old version that sucked that I thought, I didn't pick up. I got to use one somewhere. Then they made a newer version. Well, the Bugbots is where they really started picking up and doing pretty good on these. And I kind of like it. I like what they've done. And it's pretty good. G1, of course, they've re-released it. There was like some sort of special deluxe set or something. But anyhow, I don't really know why, because it's probably the most abundant common figure in G1. And I never actually went after these guys. They just were in lots, and I started looking at them, and I pieced together, and I'm still trying to piece together some more that are whole, but they're always missing like an antenna. Like, this guy's missing an antenna. I just don't even know how. I'd have to swap a whole head or something. But just little things like that. But this kickback here looks really good. Let's move on to the next one. Here we are with Bombshell, and this is the G1. Since I have so many of them, I could do a G1 of both, because they just came in lots like crazy. But real simple transformations. I think, of course, so are these guys here. Now, one thing that does kind of bother me, and I'll point that out here in a little bit when I'm done about the Titan Returns, is the lack of consistency across the colors and the way they look if you put them as a team together. But I'm not really, it's not that big of a deal, but G1 and Masterpiece, you have consistency of color. You don't have that in the Hasbro Legends figures. And also, these guys are the same size, and this one here represents, my son has one. Let's get that in frame. My son has one that's open. This guy's significantly larger when he's out of the package. And I don't open up mine. I'm not big on opening my Hasbro stuff so much. Although I guess, what does it matter? It's all crushed. Opening my Hasbro stuff so much because it's, I just don't. My kids, I buy an extra one for them. They open and they play with theirs, and that's what I experience it that way. But I know the pieces will get lost with my kids. Okay, next we're looking at Shrapnel here. And so this is the original packaging it came out. It was re-released, and I don't know if there's a difference between the figures. And I know you don't get the Target Master or whatever this guy is in here. That little guy, you don't get him anymore. And this guy was $6, okay? So here's the thing. This is what gets me. I got this guy for $6 back in the day. And I believe that was MSRP. But when these started hitting 10, I was like, oh, we're getting screwed. But when they first started making them really good like this, $6 was a great deal. Can't believe that. It's just like, the very next year they went up to 10. I guess they realized that they were going to sell real well or something. One thing I want to point out is the G1 has this beautiful chrome reflective finish, and then Hasbro decided to opt out with the cheap, just unpainted plastic. And yeah, there's quite a bit of paint on this, but would have liked to have those chromed. I mean, I don't see why they could do it back then but not today. Okay, so look at the difference in color variation. And the camera is showing this one a little bit different, but you can still tell the difference. So he's darkest, he's about medium, and he's light, as you can see. You're going to display these on a shelf as a team together. Would kind of like to have had closer to similar coloring to them, at least within the line. I could understand Bad Cube's coloring being different than Fans Toys, being different than MMC's, being different than... there's two other companies I think that made Bugbots, and I can't keep up with all that. But anyway, these options here, as good as they did, Why can't they keep the same color of plastic? Or paint, whatever. Funny thing, I was having trouble with this box. I just leaned it up against a Fanboys figure. They're pretty sturdy and stout. They'll hold anything up. So next I want to do a side-by-side comparison of Fans Toys and Bad Cube. And first of all, I like to say that the number one thing you're going to notice here is a difference in size. And height, Fans Toys wins. I mean, Fans Toys is close to a head taller, half a head taller, just bigger, more commanding. The weight, the distribution, and look, it just looks like Bad Cube's version. Like you put a weight on them and you shrunk them down. You said, look at the proportions are better, and you know, not just to what you look in your eye, what you think, but compared to this guy. I mean, let's compare it to the G1 toy. Now, the G1 toy is what the cartoon was based off of, and then the cartoon, I think, didn't really stylize it too much different. But you look at this guy, and his proportions match Fans Toys better. And yeah, I do like this clear plastic, and I haven't taken the time to switch out the clear plastic chest. Now you have the little screw you change out, but still, let's get that properly adjusted. Okay, still, this Fans Toys wins. Weight, quality, heft. Now, here's the thing. What would I recommend? Would I recommend getting Fans Toys? Yes, wait for a re-release. Maybe a year, 2, 3 years from now. Great, you want something on your shelf right now? Get Bad Cube. I got the whole set of Bad Cubes for $140. It was 3 of them. Through one of the online retailers that was kind of clearancing them out, but I think you have to pay $200 to get all 3, which I don't think is bad. I mean, it's $100 each basically for Fans Toys during a regular release, but if you go right now, you're looking to get one of these bad boys for, well, this guy's going to go for like $300, I think. That's what it looks like it's doing these days. Now, I want to point out they both have the chrome on the wings, and the chrome, well, it's, I wouldn't want to call that chrome, but chrome weapons. And I'm not sure, I think there's another version of Bad Cube that's the cheaper version that doesn't have the chrome, doesn't have the clear chest, and they say this has some die-cast in it. So the other one doesn't have die-cast. It's actually lighter than that. I think Fans Toys weighs twice as much. I could get a scale and find out for sure. So if you're going to buy the Bad Cube stuff, try to get the deluxe version. In my opinion, it's so much better. I'm happy with them on a shelf with the presents, and it's nice to have options. So next I want to talk about is Bombshell, and so you have the same issues as before. Now, Fans Toys has 2 versions. They've got the purple, and they have the gray, and I don't really know why they have 2 different versions, and I bought mine secondhand off of somebody else. So I got what I got. I'm not against getting the purple one. I mean, I like purple. I love me some purple, and that's a whole lot of purple going on this table. But looking at these guys, I just noticed that there's like another attachment I'm supposed to put on the head or something like that for Fans Toys or whatever. Or it actually goes on the back or something. But I'm just playing in robot mode, and that's really a bug part, so I didn't mess with it and take it out of the box. Plus, I don't want my chrome getting scratched and messed up. But anyhow, for the purpose of this video, I could have put that on there. But it doesn't really affect the robot mode, and that's my main favorite part. There is, you know, I gotta say, with this figure, and there's actually these next 2, Fans Toys does have some kibble on the back. If you're okay with that, I mean, Bad Cube did a little bit better job with hiding the kibble, or at least compacting the kibble. Still, it feels like Fans Toys is a much more quality figure. But if you like neater, let's get this, neater, cleaner transformations, then Bad Cube kind of got this one. Not gonna say that it's a better figure, and now the backpack doesn't want to stay in, but it's definitely cleaner looking, and still weighs about half as much. But I want to get into talking about this. So what if you don't want the Fans Toys? What if you want Fans Toys? They're not available, but for ridiculous prices, and you want to wait for re-release, and you get the Bad Cube. Well, guess what? They look good on a shelf, having different variations, because in the cartoon you had hundreds of Insecticons, and they did make them look slightly different. They didn't look all exactly the same, which is kind of cool. which is kind of why I don't mind having 8 or 9 of these in my G1 of the same one, and lots of them are missing parts, so they look a little bit different. So next I want to get on to talking about Shrapnel here, and Shrapnel, not Shrapnel, Shrapnel. And he's a pretty cool figure, and I think this is probably Bad Cube's best. Not that it's, not that any of Bad Cubes are bad, and not that it's even better than a Fans Toys ones, but I think that this one hits the marks the best. I think he looks good for the character. He does carry kibble on his forearms, which Fans Toys doesn't, but his proportions look right. I love this clear here, the beautiful antenna things, and then of course a pretty clean back. And Fans Toys got a bug curled up on his back, but it is what it is, and I display mine from the front, so I'm not really upset about it. And what you gonna do? But this is probably one of the best Bugbots. Of course, I like Kickback as the overall look of Kickback the best, but anyway, definitely would suggest going with Bad Cube if you can't get the Fans Toys. But wait for Fans Toys to re-release and get them all. And in closing, I just kind of want to know what you guys think. There's the MMC out there, and there's some other ones. What else is out there? Is the MMC one that great? I haven't touched it. I mean, I've already got enough money invested in these guys to for a line of characters I'm not too into, and I've only been collecting third parties for about a year and a half. So, kind of interesting how these have turned out. But anyway, what you think? What are your favorite? Do you like the Hasbro? Do you ever mingle your Hasbro with your masterpiece? Let me know. Titanium Hanger out.